It's my favorite time of the year. Mercury is going backwards in retrograde.
Yes, it is. Mercury has been retrograde since last Saturday, but it was in the sign of Scorpio. Now it's retrograding back into Libra, so I thought I would tell everybody where they can expect all the wonderfulness of bound to be done over again and bound to be repeated and miscommunication along with misunderstandings. So for Libras, because that's the sign we're in, it's all about them being misunderstood. And Libras try very, very hard to do the polite thing, to do the correct thing, to do the right thing. And no matter how hard they try to do it, they're still going to be misunderstood and probably end up hurting somebody's feelings to boot, which would be a real drag, so especially if that's your partner. For Scorpios, Mercury retrograding is in their 10th house, in their 12th house of their own undoing. This is where they say one thing and they mean something, but it gets completely misinterpreted, completely misunderstood. So if I was a Scorpio, I would just write things down, and hope to God, and not text it, and hope to God that I was clear about what I was saying. For Sagittarians, not so bad. It's retrograding in their 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. So that's the kind of thing where your boss kind of dangles a carrot in front of you. It says, here, chase this for a while, and if you're good, you'll get the carrot, and if not, you can just keep chasing it. That's the kind of thing that happens with Mercury retrograde in your 11th. In your 10th, where it is for Capricorns, this is career confusion, and this is misunderstandings between you and the powers that be. So what I've learned to do is whenever Mercury is retrograde in my 10th house, whatever the bosses say, I say, okay. I don't argue with them. I don't disagree. I don't try and prove them wrong. I go, okay, because I know it's going to change in 2 weeks. So, and it's in their career and public standing. For Aquarians, it's in the 9th house of the law. If you ever wanted to slide something by that was not quite kosher and not quite legal, this is the energy to do it with, because the law is on your side. And paperwork, you can slide paperwork things by if you want. For Pisces, it's in their 8th house of other people's resources. They are going to have to add their columns of figures, not once, not twice, but probably 3 times to make sure that everything balances, because it's not very likely to. And financial mistakes, I think, are the ones that make me almost the craziest. For Aries, it's in their 7th house of partners. They have to be careful the way the public perceives them, the way they appear to be. They're going to be in the spotlight for one reason or another. They're going to be called to task for one reason or another, either professionally or through their partners. But either way, it's almost as though the universe is pointing at you, Aries, and saying, what are you going to do about it? Which they're not really sure what they're going to do about it. For Tauruses, it's in their 6th house of work and responsibility. The big challenge here is to, number 1, delegate authority, and number 2, make sure that whoever it is you delegate it to actually does the job.
So you get you get to work twice.
You get to work twice, exactly. Not even get paid once for it. So, and also medical tests. I would wait until after Mercury went direct on the 24th before I really believed any medical test, for good or for ill.
Okay.
For, who's next? Geminis, it's in their 5th house of children, entertainment, sports, amusements, and pleasures. I don't think that's a bad place for it to be, because it indicates misunderstandings and miscommunication with kids, but that pretty much happens all the time, and lovers too. So for Cancers, 4th house of home, big problems there, because they're trying very hard to keep the balance and keep the peace at home, and there is some sort of unknown entity or unknown quantity that comes in and upsets the home apple cart and causes everybody to be unhappy, which is never cool, because if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah.
For Leos, it's in their 3rd house of day-to-day living, communications, understandings, and agreements. And they're going to have to be really careful to make sure they understand what their responsibilities are and what they are agreeing to, and what they are agreeing to in terms of paperwork and agreements with other people, to make sure that all of that goes, a comma there, a semicolon there, can change the complexion of everything. So they really want to be careful with that. And then for Virgos, the last sign, it's in their 2nd house of money. It's a matter of, you don't want to buy something twice. You don't want to duplicate your financial efforts. And ideally, you want to do something once and get paid for it twice, not have to pay for it over and over again. So they also need to make sure that all of their columns add up as well. So that's tomorrow's news today for all the signs of the zodiac for the 2nd week of Mercury retrograde. And the best news is there's only 1 week left after that. So that's the news.
That's good. See you next week.
Always a pleasure.